My best friend married my ex and invited me to the wedding. The most insane story you'll hear this year. You ever think your best friend would never stab you in the back? Well, mine did, and she used a wedding invitation to twist the knife. My name's Anna, I'm 27, and I thought I had life mostly figured out. A job I didn't hate, a circle of people I trusted, and a boyfriend, Mark, who I genuinely believed was my forever person. We were together for almost 3 years, and not the casual kind. We were serious. Talking about kids, houses, even baby names. You know, the kind of stuff you do when you're dumb enough to think love means safe. But here's the thing, right before everything fell apart, I started feeling it. That quiet shift. The missed calls. The one-word replies. The sorry, work's been crazy texts that never really explain anything. You can just tell when someone stops choosing you. And I could tell, even if I didn't want to admit it. Then one day, he called me over to talk. You already know where this is going. He sat me down, avoided eye contact, and hit me with the classics. It's not you, it's me. I just need space to figure out who I am. I still care about you, but I'm not ready for forever. I didn't even cry right away, I just stared at him, because it felt like someone unplugged my reality and forgot to put it back in. For the next few days, I was a wreck. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop scrolling through our old messages like there was some hidden clue I'd missed. And the person who got me through it was my best friend, Jenna. Jenna and I had known each other since college. She was the one who'd drop everything to come over with wine, snacks, and a playlist titled Men Are Trash. She'd sit next to me on my couch while I cried and say things like, "You deserve better. He doesn't even know what he lost." She was there for every meltdown, every angry rant, every maybe I should text him. And I believed her when she said she had my back. Because that's what best friends do, right? Except, a few weeks later, she started acting weird. Not obvious at first, just slower to respond, less available. The kind of busy that sounds polite but feels off. I thought maybe she was just giving me space. Until one night, at 1 a.m., I got a text from her. "Hey, can we talk? I need to tell you something before you hear it from someone else." My heart dropped. You know when your gut already knows it's bad, even before you read the rest? That was me. I opened it, and my hands literally started shaking. She said that she and Mark had bumped into each other, started talking, and caught feelings. She tried to cushion it, saying it just happened, and they didn't mean for it to. I felt sick. Because while I was sobbing on her couch, she was texting him. I didn't reply for hours. I just stared at the screen, reading the words over and over. My best friend and my ex. Together. She said she didn't want to lose me and hoped I'd understand. Understand what, exactly? That she's a walking betrayal in lipstick? I blocked them both. I didn't scream, didn't post about it, didn't do anything dramatic. I just disappeared, because that's all you can do when you're tired of being the fool. Fast forward 1 year. I'd healed. Mostly. New job, new apartment, new haircut, the usual post-trauma checklist. And then one morning, I made the dumb mistake of checking Instagram. The first post that popped up? Jenna. In a wedding dress. Next to Mark. My heart literally stopped for a second. The caption said, "Forever started today," ring emoji, red heart emoji. I scrolled through the pictures in disbelief. There they were, smiling, kissing, thriving on the ruins of my past. But the worst part? A few hours later, I got a text. From Jenna. She wrote, "Hey Anna, I hope you're doing well. I wanted you to hear it from me before you saw it online. Mark and I got married. You've always meant a lot to both of us, and we'd really love for you to come celebrate with us. I think it could be really healing," sparkling heart emoji, healing. She actually said healing. I didn't respond right away. But when I did, all I said was, "You really think this is something I'd want closure from, not therapy for?" And that was it. Except a few nights later, I looked back at her post again, curiosity, stupidity, whatever you want to call it. And in the last photo of her wedding carousel, I noticed something that made my skin crawl. It was a picture of the three of us, me, Mark, and Jenna, from years ago. We were at a party, laughing, clueless about the future. And the caption under that picture said, "Sometimes life brings the right people together at the wrong time," red heart emoji. Tell me that's not psychotic. Her comment section was full of people saying things like, "True love always finds its way. So happy for you too. Some things are meant to be." I wanted to scream. Because no one knew the truth, that their love story started with betrayal. I blocked her again. But somehow, 6 months later, she reached out again. This time, she wanted to meet up just to talk. At first, I ignored her. But curiosity got me. I wanted to see how she'd justify it to my face. So, I agreed. We met at this little cafe we used to go to all the time. She walked in like nothing ever happened. Smiling. Happy. And she said, "I miss you. I know it hurt you, but we didn't plan for this. We just fell in love. I really hope one day you can see it from my side." I just stared at her. And asked, "Did you ever stop to think how it felt for me?" She said, "Of course I did. But you're strong, Anna. I knew you'd move on faster than anyone." And that's when it hit me. She didn't feel guilty because she thought I was resilient. She used my strength as an excuse to betray me. A few months later, I found out they were already separated. Turns out Mark cheated on her too, with a coworker. And you know what? I didn't even feel satisfaction. Just peace. Because sometimes, karma doesn't need your help. It just needs time. Now here's the real question, and I want honest answers. Would you have gone to that wedding? Would you have stayed friends? Or would you have done what I did, burned the invitation and walked away without a word? Because people always talk about forgiveness like it's this noble thing, but no one ever admits the truth sometimes. The most peaceful thing you can do is close the door and let the trash take itself out. So, tell me, would you have gone to that wedding or ghosted her for life? Drop your answer in the comments and don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more crazy stories like this one. I want to see how many of you would have stayed classy. And how many would have shown up with popcorn emoji? My husband's best friend was actually his secret girlfriend, and everyone knew but me. You ever look back on your life and realize there were 100 little signs you ignored? Yeah. That's me. My name's Natalie, I'm 29, and I found out my husband was cheating, not because I caught him, not because he confessed, but because his best friend slipped up. And when I tell you that everyone knew but me, I mean everyone. Let's rewind. I met Ethan when I was 24. He was charming in that way that made you feel seen, like you were the only one in the room. He had the kind of smile that disarmed you, and the kind of attention that made you forget all the red flags waving right in front of your face. He told me he had a best friend named Harper. They'd been close since high school. She was like a sister, he said. And at first, I believed that. They'd text a lot, hang out occasionally, and share inside jokes that I didn't really get, but I told myself it was harmless. Because that's what trusting people do. Fast forward 2 years, we're married. Things are good. Mostly. But Harper's name never really goes away. She calls it odd hours. She shows up at our house without warning. And Ethan lights up whenever she does. One time, she even crashed our anniversary dinner because she happened to be nearby. He didn't send her away. He pulled up a chair and ordered her dessert. I laughed it off, but deep down, something started to ache. Then came the messages. One night, around midnight, his phone buzzed. I glanced over and saw her name. Just her name, no preview. But what made me pause was the way he snatched the phone off the nightstand like it was on fire. I asked, "Everything okay?" He said, "Yeah, just Harper being dramatic." I wanted to believe him, but you know that feeling? When your intuition is screaming but your heart keeps shushing it. That was me, the perfect blend of denial and desperation. A few weeks later, he told me Harper was going through a rough breakup. He said he was going to spend the weekend at her place to make sure she's okay. I asked, "Can't you call her instead?" He said, "She needs a friend right now, Nat. Don't make this a thing." So I didn't. I let him go. And I hate myself for that. He came back 2 days later, smelling like her perfume. I knew it because it was mine. Chanel Chance. I'd left it in his car once, and suddenly Harper loved the same scent. But still, I said nothing. Because I didn't have proof. Just pain. Then one night, Harper called me. Which was weird, she never called me. Her voice was shaky. "Hey Nat, I just wanted to say I'm sorry if I ever made things weird between us." I said, "What do you mean?" She paused for a second too long. "Just. Forget I said that." Click. My stomach dropped. I went through Ethan's phone while he was in the shower the next morning. And I wish I could tell you I found something small, something forgivable. But it was everything. Texts. Photos. Videos. Voice notes. Stuff dating back before our wedding. I sat there shaking, scrolling through their conversations. Messages like, "I hate pretending we're just friends. I wish she'd notice how we look at each other. After the wedding, we'll figure it out." After the wedding. He married me while planning a future with her. I didn't confront him right away. I wanted to be strategic. So I called Harper. I said, "Hey, just wanted to let you know I read everything." Silence. Then she started crying. She said, "I didn't want to hurt you." He said he'd leave you, that he was only staying until things calmed down. Until things calmed down? We'd been married less than a year. When Ethan came home that evening, I was sitting at the table with his phone in front of me. I didn't yell. Didn't cry. Just asked, "So, is she worth everything you're about to lose?" He froze. Then he did that thing cheaters do, turned it around. Said I was invading his privacy, said I didn't trust him. No, genius. I trusted you too much. That's how we got here. He packed a bag and left that night. No apology. No explanation. Just silence. But here's where it gets really twisted. 2 months later, Harper posted a photo of her hand wearing a diamond ring, my old engagement ring. Same design. Same stone. Caption, "Sometimes the right love comes at the wrong time," ring emoji, red heart emoji, sound familiar? Their comments were full of people cheering them on. True love always wins. Finally. You guys were meant to be. No one knew he was my husband. No one knew that I was the collateral damage in their meant-to-be story. Fast forward again, a year later. They got married. I didn't go, obviously. But I heard from mutual friends that it didn't last. Apparently, Ethan cheated on her too, with another woman from work. And Harper, the love of his life, found out the same way I did, through his phone. She tried to reach out to me after it all fell apart. Sent this long message about karma, forgiveness, healing. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry. But because I was finally done. You know what the worst part is? It's not the cheating. It's realizing that while you were giving your all, everyone around you was silently watching your downfall like it was entertainment. So yeah, that's how I found out my husband's best friend was actually his girlfriend. And everyone knew but me. Be honest, if your partner's best friend gave you bad vibes, would you trust your gut or give them the benefit of the doubt? Comment what you'd do. I'm curious who would stay calm and who would go full FBI mode. Eyes emoji. I found out my fiancé proposed to me out of guilt, because he got someone else pregnant. When people talk about the moment your life changes forever, they make it sound romantic, like a proposal or a baby announcement. But mine? It started with a phone call from a stranger. My name's Lila, I'm 27, and until a few months ago, I thought I had the perfect life. I was engaged to Daniel, the kind of guy people call the dream. Tall, kind, funny in a quiet way. He worked in finance, had a good family, never raised his voice. We dated for 3 years before he proposed, candlelight dinner, rooftop view, the whole thing. Everyone said I was lucky. Turns out, I was living in a lie. It all started 3 weeks after our engagement. Daniel had been distant, not in an obvious way, but something was off. He'd zone out mid-conversation. Take long walks without telling me where he was going. And his phone? Suddenly glued to his hand. I asked if he was stressed about work. He said, just tired, babe. But I've always been good at reading energy. And his? Was screaming guilt. Then, one night, while we were watching a movie, his phone buzzed. Normally, I wouldn't care. But it was 11:47 p.m., and the contact name just said A. No emoji. No last name. Just A. He grabbed it so fast he knocked over his drink. When I looked at him, he had that look, the one people get when they're hiding something but praying you don't ask. I said, who's A? He said, my boss. She's working on a lake project. But something didn't add up. His boss's name was Caroline. The next morning, I checked his phone while he showered. Before you judge, listen. I knew. You can feel when something's wrong. So I opened messages. And there it was, we need to talk. I can't do this alone. You don't get to walk away, Daniel. You promised you'd help. I clicked her contact. Full name, Alyssa M. No photo. I didn't know an Alyssa. I scrolled through, my heart racing. The messages went back months. She wasn't some random coworker, she was something else. There were deleted messages, whole chunks missing. But the tone? Desperate. Emotional. One line in particular made my blood run cold. If you think proposing to her fixes this, you're delusional. I dropped his phone like it burned me. When he got out of the shower, I asked him point blank, who is Alyssa? He froze. Didn't blink. Didn't speak. Then finally, she's someone I used to see. It was before you. I said, before me? Then why is she texting you about your proposal? He went pale. Like actual ghost white. That's when I knew. He sat down, put his head in his hands, and said the one thing I never expected, she's pregnant. I swear the world stopped. I couldn't even breathe. He said it happened once. That they hooked up at his office holiday party 2 months before he proposed. He said it didn't mean anything, that he was drunk and confused. And when she told him about the baby, he panicked. So what did he do? He proposed to me, to lock things in. His words, not mine. He said he didn't want to lose me, and he thought starting our future would make it easier to come clean later. You know what's wild? For a second, I almost pitied him. But then I remembered, I was planning a wedding with a man who thought engagement was a distraction from his guilt. I told him to leave. He begged, cried, promised to take care of everything. I told him the only thing he should take care of was his unborn child. He left. I thought that was the end of it. But 2 months later, I got a message request on Instagram. From Alyssa. I didn't want to open it. But curiosity won. She said, you don't know me, but I think we need to talk. I didn't know he was still with you. She explained that Daniel told her we'd broken up right before they hooked up. He told her our relationship was basically over, that I was clingy and emotional. He said I was making it hard for him to move on. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly what cheaters say. She said she found out we were still together when she saw my engagement post, the same week she told him she was pregnant. So, let's recap. He cheated. Lied. Proposed out of guilt. And told both of us different versions of the same story. I messaged her back and told her I appreciated her honesty. And then she dropped one last bomb. He told me if you ever found out, he'd tell everyone I was obsessed and made it up. He had a whole backup lie prepared. This wasn't a mistake, it was strategy. I blocked both of them after that. Deleted the wedding photos, canceled the venue, called my parents. My mom cried. My dad said, better now than after vows. They were right. It's been 6 months now. He still tries to call sometimes, from new numbers. I never pick up. Last I heard, Alyssa had the baby. She named him Noah. And Daniel? He's apparently paying child support, and engaged again. To another woman. I pray she sees the signs before it's too late. And you know what's crazy? Sometimes I still miss the person I thought he was. Not him. Just the illusion. Because when you're in love, you don't just lose the person, you lose the version of yourself that believed in them. So yeah. That's how I found out my fiancé proposed to me out of guilt, because he got someone else pregnant. Be honest, would you forgive him if he told you the truth after proposing? Or is that betrayal beyond repair? Drop your take in the comments. I want to see how divided this one gets. Eyes emoji.